or next month in November with Tobias Whalen, too. And we'll be talking about cryptics and all this stuff.
Yeah. Tobias and I work together on a lot of investigations, have been since the Chicago Flap started, and he and Emily are part of the Phantoms of Monsters research team.
Wow. I don't know how you do it, my friend. Well, anyway, I appreciate you coming on. I really enjoyed having you on. And till late November, I want you to have a great Halloween and a great Thanksgiving that's coming up.
Thank you. Same to you, and thanks for having me.
Okay, sir. We'll talk to you later. Well, we're going to be going on break here. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. We'll be back after all this.
Selfish and cruel since his youthful days in school. His siblings he never did treat well. His self-centered bent was his dark side lament, with a focus on hypnotizing spell. He memorized laws to help sharpen his claws for a future for which he was bent. The time would surely come when for office he would run and claim he was just heaven sent.
Another politician has just taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage. A false prophet selling endless empty prose.
Stepped over dead bodies on his climb to the top. The highest post was his aspiration. But he forgot to read the fine print in the contract that he signed, which caused a U-turn to his final destination. He continued on his pathway of destruction and decay, never...
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Boy, Lon had a lot of interesting things to say, didn't he, James?
Yeah, he did. We learned a lot of stuff tonight. I got to tell you, very, very intriguing and very interesting, definitely, and very educational.
Oh yeah, and he felt the same way I feel, that there's people going missing, and what he said about this other thing I didn't even know about. Maybe these people, after they've been harvested off our planet and not returned, like all the liquid sucked out of them, and then kind of like, burned up and get rid of the remains, what was left?
Yeah, I mean, that's brutal. It's awful. I mean, we're just nothing but slave labor and food and science projects to them, basically, and they can do whatever they want, and we have no control over it. And these are rotten feelings to have, especially if you've been abducted or repeatedly abducted, and you've got post-traumatic stress, and you got to think about these things before you go to bed at night. And that's not knowing what they're even doing to you. Maybe you don't know everything. Maybe you don't want to know.
No, maybe some of these people, too, have been abducted. Who knows how long they've been abducted to? They might think they were for example, if they were single, right? That they could have been abducted for days and days, and who knows what has been done to them before they were returned.
That's true. Just like Travis Walton, he thought he was gone. Maybe a few hours or a day, and he was gone for 5 days because time is different, and these UFOs are basically time machines. I mean, they could go out and be gone just to them maybe an hour, but in our time it may be days. And because when he came back, he had like a 5-day growth of beard, and he thought he was just gone a day. So yeah, these things could definitely happen.
Well, it just makes me wonder what is going on with all these missing people. Are they being used for working in mines? Are they still looking for gold? Maybe they're still looking for resources or something on our planet where they have to use humans as slaves, as we were told. It's a possibility.
It sure is, and it makes sense. It checks a lot of dots, so to speak, fits a lot of boxes. But if that's so, it's so nefarious and just scary to think these things. Because here's the other thing: if they're not doing that to you and throwing you away or using your organs, they're eating you or whatever they're doing to you. They're using you up, and when they're done with you, well, okay, see ya. You know, we don't want to send you back because we send too many back, and everybody's going to start talking and getting wise.
Well, yeah, if they abducted somebody and they're making them work as a slave till they, virtually can't work anymore, the only option they probably have at that point is to, get rid of them and not return them. And they evidently they don't think enough of humanities, or humans, I should say, to, I hate to say it, to suck the fluids out of a human and then burn them up just like nothing.
I know, and a lot of these different type scenarios that I've been hearing about throughout the years, matter of fact, there always seems to be the reptoid species tied to it one way or another. I don't know if you've noticed that in your research and whatnot or whatever, but that's what I've noticed.
Well, I noticed, too, I've heard from other people, people who investigate this subject say the same thing, that they even eat each other. So if they even eat each other, then I guess maybe we're a delicacy to them.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you imagine if you eat each other, you'll eat anything. So yeah, we're probably a nice little snack. I mean, I could see that. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately,
I don't know. Sam, are you there?
Yes, it must be a dog-eat-dog world then.
Well, maybe they don't eat dog because they're precious to them.
Yeah, but they'll eat each other and they'll eat humans.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And then they use us as slaves, too. Why not? I guess we can be used for a lot of different things.
It was a little disturbing about this interdimensional thing. I started thinking about it with Leon, I guess our last guest here. And the fact that we know I'm pretty sure the Bigfoots and the cryptids and the different kinds of cryptids seem to appear and disappear. And that's a good explanation about interdimensional portals. But then it can open the door to the fact that the aliens probably using those as well. They could open one right in your bedroom. I've already had my friend have one open up in her tent and disappear. So portals can open up in your tent or in your house or on your wall. Something can come through, grab you, pull you back through, and where you go from there is, nobody knows. You could serve as a slave, or then after you're done with that, and food is the next choice.
Yeah, or they suck all the fluids out of you and just kind of burn you up to nothing. But, that makes sense, because a lot of people say that these abductions happen like they're in bed, and these creatures walk right through the wall, like the bedroom wall. It's just like nothing. Maybe they're opening the portal, and that's why they get there. Instead of, if you remember Stargate, you remember how these whatever they were, lords could just travel, through space and time. That probably the same way. I mean, if they want to abduct somebody, they just open up a portal and pull you right through the wall. That's the portal right there. That makes sense, because that's how they come into your room to get you.
That makes way better sense than thinking that something solid goes through a solid wall. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of being able to open a portal anywhere you go. I mean, think about that. I always thought of portals as being a static location, like on the Earth, or, like at Stonehenge, or places where there's high energy. But if they're able to do it anywhere on the planet, or take a Bigfoot where they're running, chasing elk, and all of a sudden they go past this one tree and disappear, and literally, maybe they cloak themselves, but on the other hand, or just something happens where they can generate some kind of portal right in front of them, walk right through it, end up someplace else. I mean, it's just very bizarre when you think about it. It
Well-
also kind of makes you very, very concerned because we as humans do not have that capability, and hence that puts us at a severe disadvantage, protecting us from higher food chain issues.
Well, they could look at this. They could create a portal where a whole group of, soldiers are, for example, and just suck them all through it. I mean, they could do it. If they could do that in an area like out in the woods or in somebody's bedroom, right, or in their car, who knows how big an area they could create? Could they even suck a small town into the portal and, make it disappear?
They could. And a lot of movies have been made kind of implying that, too.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I never run across that situation. Well, how about you, James?
Well, here's a scenario for you. What if they're opening these portals throughout the country, throughout the woods and all over, and after doing that, maybe that leaves a rip in time and it leaves a permanent portal there. Or maybe they're setting like portals out for traps, so people just happily walk into them, and now they've got them for a slave or whatever, a catch-all. I mean, these are all possible scenarios.
Could be. Can you imagine, like, downtown of a major city, you're walking on the sidewalk, and all of a sudden you just walk through a portal, and you're gone. They got you.
You disappear.
Yeah.
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 That was a real hole. Just lay it there. That's the worst kind of manhole to drop through. You know it.
Or could you imagine they just hover over a triangle that just hovers over one main intersection, right? Towards dusk, and where there's not a lot of cars, but just suck up a whole bunch of cars at one time, and boy, they got slave labor.
Yeah, and I believe they can do this through maybe in the sky and the oceans too. Maybe that's why we lose some ships full of people and planes as well.
I don't know. I think there's more to this. Again, I always thought the portals would be just like come and go, but they would be in the same area. And now it's making logical sense that these portals maybe are not an act of nature or a freak of nature. They could be from one of these alien races that are coming down, and they create the portals to do what they ever want to do. Like if they want to come down and investigate, they go through it. If they want to suck somebody through a portal into their lab and on their spaceship, they can do it. I mean, to me, that makes logical sense. I mean, a lot more than just that these portals are just act of nature. I got a funny feeling that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they were created by one or several different species of aliens that are out there messing around with their fabric of time or whatever they're doing, interdimensions. But it's a plausible reason why so many thousands of people yearly are just vanished, gone.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Well, they talk about there's like 66 different species or race. I'm going to call them races of beings or species of intelligent beings that have been interacting with this planet. And the fact that the reptilians, for instance, I thought that was a fantasy, almost like Bigfoot was a fantasy at one time. And slowly but surely, as I started processing through certain information and different stories, accounts, I'm not so sure about that anymore as far as the reptilians. And I think they do exist. There's some bizarre things associated with them. But what's really uncanny is when you start researching about the reptilians and some of the things they can do, it's the same kind of abilities that Bigfoot and the other cryptids have. The same kind of way to fool people into thinking that's, in other words, they could shapeshift, for instance, and you would think it's a human, but it's not. And this is sort of the thing, and then you talk about the hybrids, too. The hybridization of humans crossed with reptilian blood or something like that. So there's stories associated with that, like the Rh-negative blood, for instance. It seems to be associated with royalty, which seems to also have a tie-in with the reptilian race. And there are stories out there along those lines as well. So I've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit myself personally. not just Bigfoot and little people. So I'm still researching, still trying to figure